All right. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shah, Bashim Kakwadash. Second, I want to give double honor to the Apostle GMS, that ruleth well, our beloved elders, our apostles, and peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect that consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians. This is Shaquaka Rao from GMS, Virginia. Let me see something real quick. Bear with me. Let me see. Who is Michelle Lamey? So this is the lady, French designer. It's not a coincidence. A lot of so-called rappers, they get into that rap industry and then they start wearing those French, European design clothes, Balenciaga, etc. We wrestle against high powers. These Edomites who are in power. Look at that. Cardi B. I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna just scroll around and just go through the scriptures now. Oh yeah. That was Iman Shumpert's wife, if I'm not mistaken. A bunch of just weirdness. Christianity was one tool used for this. Acceptance, Christianity, a God, the Lord. And, when you read the scriptures, our power has a name. The Son has a name, and our power has a name. But through our ignorance, the ignorance of our people, these witches, warlocks, entities are able to basically drive our people far away. And not knowing this, a lot of our people, they don't know. A lot of our people are just ignorant as hell. And they don't realize how evil, wicked this society is, how satanic the so-called white man is. And this is why ultimately, our people trying to make ends meet or become that special Negro or special nigga, that token nigga, or get those riches, they had to do a lot of mischievous, wicked things. So, let me see. Matter of fact, Michelle Lamey with the rappers. Let's go here. Because why in the hell would you be with a woman like this, right? So that's A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky always been fucking weird. And there goes Kanye. Kanye just spazzed out, lost his damn mind. There goes Migos. We all know Migos is into some high level witchcraft. And isn't that a coincidence? All these so-called street niggas and hood niggas talk about they sold drugs and bricks and etc. But then they wearing weird shit. Like again, I'm just using this scrolling around. Who's this? Usher, another weirdo. Westside Gun. Just weirdness, man. Come on. All right, so continuing on. Salaki. We got Ice Spice. Hold on. A cesspool. Yeah, and that's not a woman. Yeah, yeah, so you know what's going on. Yeah, so I don't have to explain too much more. You see what's going on. Yeah, JT. So all these people are in bed, you know. So let me get this scripture real quick. Ephesians 6. Let me see. Okay. So it's Ephesians 6 and 10. It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And we got to understand, America derived from the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was wicked, satanic, full of sorcery. They got all of their gods and idols from the ancient Egyptian, Babylonian, Sumerian empires, Nimrod, etc. And when you read about the demons, the spirits that Yahweh Shah had to deal with when he was on the scene, just multiply that by 100 times more. We live in a very satanic, wicked world, and we've been told Salaki for the many pauses. Start of verse 12 again. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take you into the whole armor of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And what's the armor? These scriptures. Your faith that's been imparted to you, and your hope. And knowing this truth, it's going to be adversity, trials, tribulations, and temptations, because we live in a very satanic world, through the disguise of Christianity, which was told to our people of our ignorance to love everything, accept everything, and basically you be a good person, so-called good person, and you really don't know what that is, and you really don't even know what a bad person is. You'll go to the so-called white man's heaven where the so-called white Jesus is. But again, all through your ignorance. And that's why ultimately our people fold to these devils, because they truly believe that everything that has to do with so-called white is right. Salaki, so that you may be able to withstand in the evil days, and having done all to stand. Because we are in great evil days. Esau is setting up the New World Order. And as you can see, the chip is damn near here. The digital ID is being set up right before our faces. And everybody is disturbed and really not knowing what's going on. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and that's the scriptures. And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, because truly this is the only thing that's going to bring you peace. And it's going to keep you away from evil. because we understand that, majority of the people that you come across has been indulged in evil. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherein you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. That's pretty much, let me get this. Many fall into temptation to get rich. Let's see what that scripture says. 1 Timothy 6:9-11. It says, 1 Timothy 6:9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation, and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Yep, because since the so-called white man has put us in a poverty, oppressive condition, he gives us, and then he tries to give us an opportunity, or a thing, something that's going to seem as if you're going to be able to help our people. And a lot of these niggas been groomed. We go back, what's that nigga? I think Offset. He was in an old Whitney Houston video. So that nigga's been around in the game. So a lot of these niggas have been groomed, and then when it comes time to getting a certain age, they're used as a tool to bring forth mishaps, evil, wickedness, and all sorts of witchcraft and sorcery upon the minds of the people. And then they push out a narrate as if you can be like them. That's your hope. That's a lot of our so-called black people's hope is the celebrities of our people, but they're all sold out. They all bow down to the so-called white man. The so-called white man, the you is their boss, and they have to do what they say. Because think about it, going back to those images, man, in your right mind, if you had money, think about it. If you had money and true power, why would you be hanging out with something that looked like this? Like, come on. Like honestly, you're sitting down in league in bed with some assholes that look like this. Like, come on. Something that, if I had money and power, if something like this even talked to me, I might give an order to go, take a dirt nap, extended stay. You're going back to the spirit world. I'm not hanging out with something like this. Come on. Look at these fucking weirdos, man. And this is what these are people, a lot of rappers, a lot of, and it's not just her or him. It's many of those those witches and warlocks and those Edomite devils, man. Scripture tells you not to trust an enemy. But again, our people wanting to be rich, and well, the the ones that's already been groomed, they've been groomed to make this look cool. And then the people that's ignorant and stupid and small-minded, you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. This is what they push. As if this is, when you get rich, you get money, you pretty much turn your back on your people and you just start turning more into these weird motherfuckers. I mean, look at these people, man. Look at this. Why would you be around something like this? If you really had money, riches, and power, why would you be hanging around some people that look like this, man? Because ultimately, your celebrities are controlled. And Nino Brown just did he did it. I didn't finish the whole thing. It was 45 minutes. It's basically said, I'm gonna do a lesson on it. It basically said, he says, what is it? So-called black people, or something to that standard, praise a lot of basically a lot of loser shit. Everything that our so-called black people like is degeneracy. And why is that? Because your celebrities that you looked up to have a different agenda. Even going back to when Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony brought out that rap documentation about how the so-called white man was going to use hip-hop in a destructive manner. So continuing on, it's a couple more, then I'm going to end it. I want to do some more videos. So verse 10, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which some coveted after they have erred through the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So, you thinking NBA YoungBoy, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and and a lot of people is coming out about the Moed activities and the rituals, the satanic cults, all of this. And this is, you just coming from the hood or the inner city or just in some suburb, whatever the place that you dwell, you come from, and you just seeing glitz and glamour, bread and circus, you don't have a clue. Because even, our parents and people with our family that we come from, even they really believe in that bullshit. And you still, at their old age and their age that they are, you can still see that they really truly believe the TV. They truly believe what they see on TV, but not knowing it's all a smokescreen. So I said, but thou, O man of Yahweh Shah, and that's the elect, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, and meekness. And, when you go for these things and chase these things, it will come a price, meaning, trials and tribulations, adversities, because this world is very satanic. So, this truth, yes, is going to bring you peace, but it will be tested because, the leaders, the ones that rule this world that's in power right now, they're basically against Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. But I'm going to wrap this thing up. Those who was edified. Shalom.